the summer of '97, the Hart Foundation were huge, right? They were doing Raws in Canada, Raws in the US, and then they do this storyline where the Hart Foundation are made out to be racist towards the Nation. DX are putting stuff in the locker room. What do you remember about that angle and about getting to work with the Hart Foundation?
I love working at the Hart Foundation. Being in the ring with Brett, Davey, and my favorite Hart member, Owen, was give it up for Owen Hart. And I'll take you down a side story of Owen Hart, because I'll just tell you, even when Owen was older than you, everyone protected Owen like he was your baby brother. Like, that's how much Owen Hart meant to our locker room. So I love being around them. And the storyline was that the Nation and the Hart Foundation were getting heat between each other, and DX was stirring the pot, and DX actually sprayed the locker room to make it like the Harts did it, so we would attack them, because if they can take care of two problems at once, then they're free to go off and do their own thing. You look at things differently with 2026 eyes compared to 97 eyes. It was a whole different world, and what would fly in 97, you can't even, if you dreamt of it, you should wake up and apologize to somebody in 2026. So I looking at it from 97, I was just happy to be involved with the Harts in a top level. Looking at it today, even just like the DX parody of us, I would have done things a whole lot differently. Or if I had had a bigger voice at the time, I wouldn't have gone down the racial stereotype path. We didn't need it, and we still had enough that we could have gotten by without it. So.
Because Brett said in his book that he hated doing that storyline because he hated the idea that somebody would die. But I mean, this is a strange question, but in 1997, what was it like being a black wrestler? Were you still having to encounter a lot more stuff than people might think, or because like you say, watching that angle now, you're like, you would never do that today.
Yeah, you in '97, it was still a weird time where you were just happy to get an opportunity to be on TV, and you would let stuff fly because you knew it would end up with you on TV. Wrestling has always been difficult for people of color and women, and it's always been, you had to work twice as hard or do things twice as good or whatever. So you just wanted to make sure that whatever you were given, you didn't want to go, no, man, I don't want to do that, because we couldn't just say no, because if we said no, they would do something with somebody else, where other wrestlers could say no and they would try to spend 6 hours appeasing them and get them into the right position to do it. Where if I said no, they'd be like, all right, fine, kill the segment, we'll put someone else there. So you have to weigh the hill you're willing to die on. And we just said, let's get on TV, and we can change it a little bit on TV as much as we can, but let's just get on TV.
Well, that summer, another member joins the Nation, is Owen Hart. What was your reaction to Owen joining the Nation? And obviously, what are your favorite Owen Hart ribs?
Owen joined the Nation was like, it was a dream come true, because if I had Ron Simmons as my mentor, now I had a built-in wrestling coach. And unpopular take here, Owen Hart is the best wrestling Hart there is, ever will be, ever has been, never will be another one better. I told you earlier, Owen was like our baby brother, and everyone protected him. And Owen was such a kind-hearted person. If I ever ran across someone who had something negative to say about Owen, I questioned that person, not Owen. That's how good of a guy Owen was. Owen was the kind of guy who would sleep in an airport so he could save hotel money because he was building his dream house with his wife. Like, that was Owen. And one of my favorite Owen stories, I've told this one a few times, and it's probably my favorite story of all time. He and I are wrestling, and we're at some arena, and I don't know, for some reason, I've been around Owen a lot, but I am just particularly beating the hell out of Owen. Like, I'm hitting him, and I can feel how hard I'm hitting him. And and Owen's going, come on, damn. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So all of a sudden, Owen goes, and he just starts grabbing me, starts wrestling around, snap-mares me, puts me in a chin lock, and he goes, D'Lo, look at your boot. My shoelace is untied, my bootlace untied. Now, your bootlace being untied is kind of like your zipper being down. You just don't do it. So I go, oh, dude, I don't never know that happens. I can't believe that happened. I'm tucking it back in. I'm in the middle of the match, tucking it in, right? Owen grabs me again, wrestles around, snap mares me. D'Lo, look at your other boot. What the hell? My other lace is untied. Well, how did that? Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I can't believe this. I put it in there and okay, wrestle around again, snapmare chin lock, and I immediately look down. All right, my boots are good. He goes, D'Lo, look at the ref's shoe. How did your shoelace get untied? And then I put out a giggle, and right then at that moment, Owen goes, you relaxed? And I go, yeah. He goes, now let's go wrestle. And we go on to have 15 minutes of one of the greatest matches of my life, and that's how good Owen Hart was. He could tell a joke, he could play a rib, and he could have a 5-star match in front of 20,000 people, and nobody was the wiser. All they saw was a great match from a great wrestler, and that's why I say Owen is one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever had the privilege of stepping in a ring with.
I do need to ask about this because it's obviously such a big segment, but the DX parody in July of '98. Because, looking at things from the past in a 2026 lens is always a tough thing to do. But just go back to the time frame. Do you know beforehand exactly who's playing who and exactly who's doing what? Do you find out as it's happening? And what are you thinking while it's happening?
So the famous Nation DX parody, we actually knew that day. And in fact, the Nation fed lines to DX to portray us. So I knew Road Dogg was going to be me, and I'm the one that said you should be below. That's what he had on his catcher's thing. And then we knew X-Pac was going to be Mark, and that's what we called him, Mizark. That's wrestler slang for Mark, by the way. And so we knew who was playing who. We knew Tripp was going to play Rocky. We did not know about blackface. Like, we didn't know they were going to do that. But we fed them lines. We were all on in building it. We were helpful in them, being us. And even after that, I always thank Road Dogg for being a better D-Lo than I was. And if you go back and watch it, he's shaking his head. He's doing everything. And then 2 segments later, I come out, and everybody's like, holy hell, D'Lo really does act like that. And so I owe Road Dogg royalties. Maybe one day I'll pay him. Hell no, I won't. But, with 97, 98 eyes, we were all on board with it. And the things you can get away with then, by no means could you do now. We were there, helpful, and we thought it was funny. We stood around the monitor and with the whole locker room behind us, giggling and laughing and having a good time. With 2026 eyes, we could have done it. We could have done the exact same thing with no blackface, and no one would have known the difference. It would have been the same funny segment. We could have taken all racial overtones and undertones and put them over here, and just had guys making fun of guys. And I'm so thankful that today's wrestling has moved past that, and now it's when you have a wrestler of color wrestling a white guy, color is not the issue that is brought up. It's just wrestler A versus wrestler B, or this asshole versus this good guy. It's never, a black bad guy. And I'm thankful that wrestling and the world is kind of moving away from that, because I think the most insignificant thing that separates me from you, from anyone else, is the color of our damn skin. And I would much rather weigh someone on the content of their character than how much melanin they have in their skin or don't have in their skin.